I started working in the trades when I was 15 years old, and it's been kind of 9 years, 8 years now since I started working in construction and in a tradie background. And man, what a journey it's been. But I'm gonna talk about the realities of it and what the process has been like working that long, and has it been worth it? Has working since I was 15 been worth it? And honestly, I think it has been worth it. I've learnt so much along the way. At the very start, I lost myself a lot because as a tradie, I feel like you're much more exposed to gambling, drugs, alcohol, going out, wasting your money on cars, all of these sorts of things. So you're a lot more prone to that, and you kind of get sucked in. I seen a lot of my mates and everyone get sucked in. I got sucked in as well. The first like 5 years of me working, literally all my money went to all of those things: drugs, alcohol, going out, partying, cars, all of these sorts of things that ultimately, after those 5 years, I didn't have any of it anymore. I had nothing to show for 5 years of working from when I was 15 till 20. And I moved to Australia, and that's when everything changed, got into the mines, all of that. So overall, it was a good thing because I built those skills and that experience very young, and I was able to transfer that into another career outside of the country, which ultimately got me into the mines. And so since I've been working since I was 15, working with cranes, and I was able to transfer those skills into another trade like mining, man, my life completely changed, and it was all worth it because I was able to make crazy money, like money I've never seen before. And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in their trades and they don't upskill, they don't change, they don't move to another career, or they don't even start their own business. And I feel like that's people's ultimate downfall. But sometimes people just want an ordinary, normal life, and that's all good. That's fine. I myself, I want a bit of a different life. I want to create a life that's unique, you know what I mean? That I can do whatever I want and eventually leave those industries. But I'll forever have respect for blue collar workers and trades and all of that. It's been such an amazing job. It comes with a lot of sacrifice as well. Like, you're working long hours, 6 till 6 from Monday to Friday. You're working on the weekends. I was definitely working on the weekends as well. So you got to make sure that you're spending your money, your time wisely. A trade is definitely a good thing to get into, I'd say. They get very good money, man. Trades, like, people look down on tradies and construction workers and all of that. Bro, some of the highest paying jobs I've ever seen are trade workers. And you don't need a degree, you don't need to go to uni, you don't need 5 years of school. Like, all of that is bullshit. In New Zealand, I was 15, I wasn't supposed to be working. 16, I can get my tickets, but over here in Australia, you have to be 18. But man, you have this career, this skill set that can carry over in a blue collar industry, which we're moving into this AI and all of these times. And I feel like blue collar work is just going to boom because there's not enough people doing it. Everyone wants to make money online, and AI is going to take a lot of those office jobs, and there's going to be a lot more competition coming into blue collar work. Now, that might be wrong, and things could go the opposite way, and we could get taken over a lot faster. But how I see it with trades and all of these sorts of things, like, robots can only do so much. You have to maintain the plant, you have to maintain the robots, you have to build these buildings, you have to build the infrastructure. All of that is, ultimately where we will succeed, where blue collar work will just keep pumping and keep moving. So trades is probably one of the best things you can get into, and especially a business plan. How I see it is that all these old fellas are about to leave the industry. They're about to leave all this work and all this stuff on the table, where these young fellas aren't coming through and swooping it up, starting their own companies and taking all this work over, because man, there's so much work out there. Like, especially over here in Australia, back home in New Zealand as well, there's so much blue collar work, and not everyone wants to get their hands dirty. You're gonna slog it out for a couple of years for sure, but you're gonna, I think, have a good backup plan if you want to transition into another job or another career. You'll have a solid backup plan to come back to your trade and, save up money quick. Depends where you are, obviously. In Australia, trades get paid very well. But overall, I reckon blue collar work is a very good skill to learn, and it definitely will help you carry over, like, into other trades. Like, my trade helped me go from New Zealand to Australia, right? And I moved over here and I was making like 4 times the money I was making in New Zealand, which is crazy, bro. So man, I don't regret starting in the trades at 15 years old. I think that was one of the best decisions I ever made. And looking back on it, I'm super proud that I stuck with it. I haven't been able to stick with many things throughout my life, but I'm glad I stuck with my job and my trade and carried those skills over. And I was thankful enough that one of my good friends, his old man, actually gave me the chance when I was 15 years old. You know, he took the risk on a young 15-year-old that just got kicked out of school. And he helped me, bro. Like, he really did help me. Like, that job saved my life, I would say, because I was going down the wrong path and I actually wouldn't know where I would have ended up. And this job took me all over New Zealand and all over Australia. So yeah, man, getting into the trades 15, as much as it had a lot of like drug abuse and alcohol and I wasted all that money, it taught me young what type of person I want to be, who I want to be surrounded by. Am I a businessman or am I a worker? And I definitely feel like I'm a businessman more than a worker. I feel like I have an entrepreneurial mindset. I want to try things. I want to invent things. I want to make new systems. I want to create a bit, like, I just want to feel that creative spark, bro. I just want to do something different. If it doesn't work out, I gave it a crack. But I'll forever love working with cranes, man. Cranes to me is just such an exciting job. I always have loved it because you're working at heights, very dangerous situations. You're the first ones on site, last ones to leave normally when you're on a construction job. There's less cranies out there on sites and stuff like that compared to a lot of other trades. You know, there's much more people. So I guess it's a smaller community. Your name carries over and a lot of people know who you are. Over here in Australia, it's a bit different. It's quite a big industry. Your name does carry over and you meet a lot of people, but there's crazy amount of companies. Back home, there was like one main company that pretty much ruled a lot of the crane work. So you'd come across the same people quite often. But yeah, getting into the trades, you just got to be careful. You just got to make sure you're going down the right path. You don't get sucked into all the gambling, the drugs, the alcohol, all of those sorts of things. You just want to avoid that shit at all costs, you know? Don't be an idiot. Don't follow that same path that all these old boys did. Listen to them, man. That's one thing I did, was listen to these old boys and then tell me all the mistakes they made throughout life. And I kind of noted that down. At the start, you know, it might have been a bit hard to teach me how to do my work or how to be a rigger, how to be a crane operator, all of those sorts of things. But I slowly learned over time that job. But I also took those lessons of the old boys, of, you know, what happened throughout their life, what they wish they did. And I took that in, even though some of these guys were in a position I never wanted to be in. It was still a lot of good advice at a young age to take in and realize, you know, because I wasn't hanging out with people my age, I was hanging out with people much older than me. So that forced me to grow up a lot faster. I'm not saying I'm perfect and you know, I know what the fuck I'm up to, but I'd say I've definitely understood life a lot better than others. And I'm still I'm still learning, man. I am still learning, even with my job, bro. There's always things you're learning with your line of work, with rigging, cranes, all of those sorts of things. It just never stops, never stops. But yeah, that's my experience from working in a trades from when I was 15. Do I rate it? I 100% rate it. It's gotten me to where I am today. I'm really grateful for the career I've had, the work I've been in, and I've managed to go to other country and smash it, you know? So if you're contemplating whether getting in the trades or you don't know where you want to be when you leave school, man, I wouldn't say turn a blind eye to it, that's for sure. It just depends what way you go about it. You just want to approach it right. Take care, guys. I'll see you later.